So we do know that this video is a little bit late. This was recorded before episode 2 came out, so everything we're saying in this is just based on episode 1. I know at the time this video goes up, episode 2 is already out. We have not seen it yet. Just the videos are going to have to be a little bit delayed because of our personal schedules. So yeah, just want to let you know that at this point in this video, everything you're about to hear is from just episode 1, and we have not seen episode 2.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Plocast. It's your boy, Paul, with my co-host, Evan.
Wait a minute,
And
does that mean you're the main host and I'm the co-host, or are we both co-hosts?
it's your co-host, Paul, with my co-host, Evan.
Okay.
And today we're going to be talking about Bad Batch, Season 1, Episode 1, the premiere. Technically, also Clone Wars Season 8, but we're not going to talk
Basically, yeah.
And we're just going to talk about how awesome it was, pretty much.
Of course.
I know Evans, he's already watched it twice. And he
3 times if you count
3 times
while I was editing. So like 2.5.
I admit I have not rewatched, but I got a chain link memory, so I'm just gonna go from that. But I'll let Evan kick it off.
All right. First off, I wanna just make it clear that we're getting the videos out as fast as humanly possible for us currently.
Yes.
So if something's like 3 days late, then that is the soonest it could possibly go up based on our schedules. So it's not like we're just laying around not doing anything. We're trying here. It's
just know we're grinding.
Life. Yes. So first off, I wanted to start with old things that were sort of brought back in or mentioned, just callbacks to get that out of the way before we talk about new stuff. What did you think, like, right off the bat when it started with like Clone Wars and the announcer and all that, like going right
I remember right off the bat I was like, oh, they brought back the narrator. Like,
Tom Kane is great.
It was, I don't even want to say nostalgia because we just had season 7, but it was just like so familiar. Like, I felt like we were hopping right back into it here.
Like I was at home.
Yes, at home, at peace.
Yeah. Also, like the aftermath, the title of the episode, when it was just a black screen and red text, it was like exactly the same as the last 3 episodes, I think, of Siege of Mandalore, with like the just black screen title, and that's it. Like, it's really simple. I thought that was really cool. I wonder if they're gonna keep going with the announcer, because Siege of Mandalore, if I remember, they only had the announcer like talking beginning for the first episode of the Siege of Mandalore, and then the last 3 it just opened.
Yeah, I would be maybe like towards the end of the season, since maybe we'll start going to heavy stuff. But I feel like for now we'll probably hear him again.
Yeah. There's obviously a lot of things that were the same from Clone Wars, like the animation style, which we'll talk about later, but the voices, the models, a lot of it's just right from Clone Wars, which is just really cool. We got to see AZ again.
Yep.
I think he might have died. Like, in our video, we're like, oh, he just got stunned. But when you think about it, he's a droid, and like when he gets stunned, he like short circuits and his eyes like go out. So did he just shut down and they rebooted him, or is he like dead?
Wow, I didn't even. I remember when he pulled the gun on him.
Yeah,
we both freaked out because we thought he was just gonna blast him in the face.
But then I don't know. Just seeing it be a stun instead of a blast took away the thought that, oh, it's a droid, so that could have killed him.
Yeah, right.
We had a lot of stuff from Revenge of the Sith, which was really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like in the beginning scene where we had the recreations of Anakin and Obi-Wan saving Palpatine, that little clip of Grievous where he's like pushing the keypad.
Time to abandon ship.
That's so cool.
Great,
obviously, like the big commencement to the Empire scene.
Yep.
One thing I feel like the timing was kind of weird, because when the Bad Batch got to Bilaba and Caleb, Tech was like, "Oh, Obi-Wan is just engaged Grievous, and then like 2 minutes later, it was Order 66, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there like a larger amount of time, like because he fought Grievous, and then he killed Grievous, and then there was a little bit of time passed because he went all the way back over to Cody. So I feel like the timing just a little weird.
Yeah. I
Um,
feel like in Revenge of the Sith, some of the stuff is going on like simultaneous
yeah,
too.
that could be the
I
case
feel
in
like
this too.
yeah.
Like probably the stuff with Anakin and Obi-Wan was probably happening at the same time.
Mhm.
So it's hard to place that together. One interesting thing I saw was the when Echo gets hit in the head with the tray, and he wakes up in the med bay. First thing he does, he starts panicking. He said, "Get them off me!" Like, cause he's just like having a flashback to him being tied up, like wired up on Skeko Minor, plugged into all these machines. I just thought that was a cool detail because him waking up like in a medical bay with no idea what's happening. He'd probably react like that, think, "Oh no, I'm back. It's happening again."
That was probably not a good experience for him.
No, no. Um, Also, Kanan and his master Depa Bilaba were in the episode, which I did not see coming. We actually, you have actually heard her name only once, and it was when the Inquisitor was fight. If you don't know, we're watching Rebels right now. I've seen it, and Paul hasn't. We're still in season one. But when the
Check out the series
Inquisitor,
below.
yes, do so. But when the Inquisitor is fighting Kanan in the cell, do you remember when he immediately figured out his fighting style? And then he's named her master too, I think.
Oh
I
yeah.
could be remembering wrong, but that was cool. Some people were upset though because before this, the Kanan uh, comic book was canon, and this heavily contradicts with that. I haven't read the comic, but I know a little bit about it. Um, like the clone captain, he's Captain Gray in the show, but in the comic he was Commander Gray, and there was Captain Styles, which some people are saying that they just kind of merged into one character. Um, and like I think I again I haven't read the comic, but I think Gray, like he realizes Order 66 was wrong and that he shouldn't be doing this, and he like sacrifices himself to save Kanan, but Kanan doesn't know that he does this, something like that. So a lot of people were upset that they just kind of just plopped him in there. But I mean, like, I don't know. They could always come back. They could always, do more with the story. And as some like us coming into it, not knowing much about it, I thought it was all right.
Yeah. I think it's cool they're tying like it's not a lot of people read the Star Wars comics.
Hmm.
But like a lot of people are going to be watching Bad Batch, and now they're tying in Rebels directly to the Bad Batch themselves. Like, I think that's pretty cool because now
Yeah,
people would be interested. Like, oh, who's this Padawan? And maybe they'll go on to watch Rebels too.
yeah. It also helps forward. We find out this isn't really a big spoiler for you. We find out that Kanan really just does not like clones. Obviously, we know why from context, and then seeing this, it even further proves or furthers that, which also applied in the comic because Kanan didn't know that Gray like saved him. He had no like he didn't know what happened. Um,
Right.
so yeah, I understand why people would be upset though because people who did read those comics really liked those characters, and they're all different now. They even have different colors. Apparently, this like detachment is part of the 41st Elite, so I don't think that was the case in the comic because they were red. But
Yeah.
that probably helps distinguish them from shock troopers, I guess. But yeah, so that's pretty much everything I got for old stuff coming back. Obviously, there's more, and we'll probably talk about more later. But what did you think about like just the quality of the episode itself?
Right away, like animation wise, you could tell like it's a step ahead.
Hmm.
Um, Clone Wars season 7 was probably the best Star Wars animation I've seen,
Oh
and
yeah.
this just continues down that path. I
Hmm.
remember we were talking about it the with Kanan, and it's like the waterfall, or I think right before he
Yeah, it
jumps or
was.
whatever.
Yeah.
But they kept showing that shot, like that's literally just them flexing. Like they're like Yeah, we know what we did. We know
Look how
this
good
looked
we are.
beautiful, and I'm all for it. I think that was awesome. I remember later, when their shuttle was flying off Camino, you could literally see the rain falling off the wings. Like it is top notch stuff, and like it's in that weird spot where it's not too realistic. It's still faithful to the Clone Wars animation style while being so realistic. If that makes sense, I think it's awesome what
Yeah.
they're doing.
If you look at early Clone Wars and compare it to like even the later like 5 and 6 look really good, but if you take early like 1 and 2 and 3 Clone Wars, 3 is really where they stepped it up, but compare that to season 7 and this, it's like insane
Oh yeah,
how much better the animation has gotten. Um, Another thing we talked about in our reaction was that the pacing was really good. Um, I we each said multiple times that the episode was like what an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes, and it really kind of flew by. It didn't really feel like it was that long, even though they still did a lot. I thought that it was like I don't know, everything just flowed really nicely. Each scene went into the next pretty well. They managed multiple storylines at the same time pretty well. Um, yeah, just like the whole time you like there was no part of the episode where I was like, oh, that was like a weird cut or that was a weird, you know. Um,
yeah.
I think part of that is because aside from not aside, instead of Clone Wars aired on TV, so it had to fill a time slot. So each episode was limited to 22 minutes. Same with season 7. I'm not sure why they did that. Some of the episodes were different, but it was still around like the 22-minute mark. Um, but the Bad Batch doesn't have that time restriction. So they have more time to do like subtle pauses and like you get more character moments and details. And like that standoff with Crosshair when they're all in the hangar, everybody there was like a
Whew.
30-second just silence and just panning back and forth. I doubt they would do something like that if the episode had to be like 20 minutes or so because you just don't have enough time to fill everything. So that felt really good.
Oh yeah, that's definitely an improvement over Clone Wars.
Hmm.
Like everyone again saying this is Clone Wars season 8, but right there, like they have the freedom to just organically create episodes however long it needs to be. And
Hmm.
this one was like 74 minutes, I think it was. But um, oh, I was gonna say another part, the humor in it was awesome because like sometimes like a joke will miss and like that'll like kind of contribute to the show dragging or something. But I feel like every joke was humorous. Like even like some of the slapstick with Wrecker and
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
it was still pretty funny. And I like I don't think this is technically a kids show. I know Rebels is and early Clone Wars was, but like kids would definitely still enjoy this, and I, as not so much a kid, am really enjoying it. So
Yeah.
I just think it's awesome. Like at no point did I have to say, "Ah, that kind of stunk. Now I got to get back into the show." I was held along. I liked every scene. Like Evan said, some of the scenes more than others, like super tense ones. I think the standoff with Saw Gerrera and the Resistance fighters was
Yeah.
also a very nice tense scene.
Yeah.
That was kind of one of the highs of the episode. But yeah, the pacing was really nice in this
Mhm.
first episode.
That's one thing I did forget. Saul, we this man is everywhere. He's in like everything.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Um, but I just thought it was fun to go back to Onderon because that 4 episode arc from Clone Wars is pretty underrated for me. A lot of people don't have it as like one of their top arcs, and I think it's a little bit underrated, but that's for another time. I wanted to talk about he gets credit for it all the time, but Dee Bradley Baker is just such an amazing voice actor. This show is like 80% him, like 90%. He's playing
Wait,
the hmm?
I have to ask. Does he does Crosshair too?
Yeah, he does them all.
That's such
He
range.
does all 5 of the Bad Batch. He does every other clone. He does new clones. And they're all different, which is the
Oh
most
yeah.
insane thing. Like even Gray, somebody we just met, if you haven't read the comic at least, his voice compared to a normal clone is a lot more gravelly and like rougher. So like I saw I think it was like an interview or an article where D says that for each clone that is, irrelevant enough to be its own character and have its own story. He like writes down one adjective for them, and he uses that to do their voice, which is really cool. But I think it's great that he's getting a show like this. This is essentially his show. The Bad
Oh
Batch
yeah.
is literally him, and then some
Oh yeah.
computers. Because they gotta. There's only so much one person can do. Like the computer. I mean, I think Wreckers is probably, touched up a little bit to make deeper, and maybe Crosshair a little bit. But it's like for the most part, it's just him, and he is just so good at doing that. And the best part is how you can tell apart different clones, especially in the Bad Batch.
I also like how iconic Dee Bradley Baker is. Like I hear his voice
Yeah,
and I
he's
think clones.
everywhere.
He is on par to Tamua Morrison when I
Yeah,
think Clone Troopers, which is like that's crazy to me.
yeah.
It's kind of in the same way, like Ray Park and Sam Witwer,
Oh
like
yeah,
how they're both equally Darth Maul. Like because again, a clone trooper, that's such an iconic part of
yeah,
Star Wars. And to have D. Bradley Baker, he built himself up like now with his own show, like this is his
yeah.
magnum opus almost. It's
Oh
it's
yeah.
really awesome to see.
An interesting point there with Sam Witwer and Ray Park. They eventually came together to
Came
bring the
together, season
character,
7.
as both of them came together to bring the character to life, which I would probably be a little harder for D and Tamura because it doesn't really. What are you gonna have D. Bradley Baker do mocap? Like that doesn't,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
which
right.
is fine. But yeah, and D. Bradley Baker is like that's not the only thing he does. He does a lot of stuff, and he's a lot of characters in a lot of show. I'll watch like some random YouTube video clip like of a meme from a show and like some background character. I'm like, that's D. Bradley
That's
Baker.
him.
He's everywhere. He's like a lot of
That man
main
does
characters
everything.
too. He's a really good voice actor. And I'm glad that he's getting more
Oh yeah.
chances to got hit. I can't imagine the percentage of lines that were his from Clone Wars. Like it's nuts. And the amount of named characters he has, like on his
Yeah,
IMDb
right.
for that show,
Right. Hats off to
that's
him.
nuts. Unless you got anything else here, I was going to move on to the actual members themselves. Um,
Go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, the Bad Batch themselves, I thought were really great. Um, the banter and like the conversation is so nice. Like I love like Wrecker's like big remarks, and then Tech is correcting him with like a scientific reason, and then you have Crosshair in the back like being sarcastic, and then Hunter's the one's like, okay guys, calm. Like they have such
Nope.
like a back and forth that is just I don't know.
Oh yeah, the team dynamic, like you could tell, like, all right, Hunter's the leader, Wrecker's the big goofball, Tech's the smart guy, Crosshair is the moody one, or they all have
Yeah.
their kind of not tropes, but like, all right, I get it, I get what this team is about, and I get why they work together so well. Eventually, like we know what happens with Crosshair, um, but yeah, just the dialogue alone, like all the jokes I already said were funny, and even the action scenes when they're working together is really smart. We all know like when Hunter threw the knife
Yeah.
and Crosshair shot it, that was amazing. But
Oh
yeah, the
yeah.
chemistry alone of I guess of D. Bradley Baker and himself.
Yeah.
um, but it's awesome. Yeah, they were written very well.
Yeah. It really makes me want a Delta Squad uh
Oh,
series or something just to see them back and
oh.
forth more than what we got in the game. Um, I feel like they were a little. This is a good thing. They were kind of toned down a bit from season 7, which I guess I don't know because Clone Wars they were a little bit more of just their like their personality. Like they were a little more act like I don't know how to put this. Basically, like they're more subdued in this. Like you can still tell who they are, but it's a lot calmer. The series seems a bit more serious than season 7, other than Siege of Mandalore. Um,
Yeah.
but I think they're turning into really great characters. Somebody I saw a comment on an Instagram post. There's a lot of like unfinished Clone Wars stuff, and there's episodes that the Bad Batch were actually supposed to be part of. That there's probably lines that have been, voice acted and like animation that's been, partially done that they had to just throw away. I think it'd be cool if they would be able to get some of that in here at all. There's just an interesting comment I saw somewhere. The big thing with the group is Crosshair, how he followed he tried to follow Order 66, and he's left the group to work for the Empire. How are you feeling about this?
Absolute stinger. Crosshair, I love Crosshair. I think he's cool, dude. I don't know what it is about him. He's a great marksman. I guess he kind of controls the battlefield from up above. But as much as I hate it, I feel like it makes sense for his character. Like I feel like he's a no nonsense guy.
Yeah.
That would follow orders. I know the Bad Batch. They were all saying like, "We break orders all the time." What are you talking about?
It's literally our job is to not follow order.
Yeah, but I feel like out of any of them, Crosshair would be the one to turn, and he would be the one. And honestly, he was fighting it. He didn't turn all the way until they put him under the machine and enhanced the chip in his brain.
Yeah.
Which shows like, yeah, no, he did break orders before. Like he's part of the team. It's just that it's literally the chip telling him what to do. He almost beat it, but then they enhanced it. And of course, now he's full dark side.
Yeah.
I'm hoping maybe a little prediction he might have a redemption.
I hope
Maybe
so.
something like we'll snap him out of it, hopefully, because I really do like him. I like what he brings to the team.
Yeah.
But contrastly, I think it would be pretty cool seeing them button heads. Like Crosshair going like he knows all their weaknesses. Like he's worked together with them the entire Clone Wars. He's gonna be able to like pick them apart. And I think like that cat and mouse game will be some interesting scenes in the future.
Yeah, we got a lot of that from just this episode alone. Like at the very end, there was that one line from Hunter's like, "I was thinking about laying low, but Crosshair will find us." So they already know that he could be trouble for them. We know it's like his chip. They're all the members are different. So for the other 4 members, we know that their chips did not function anymore. I guess it's either they don't function at all, or they don't follow commands like that. They stick to their initial programming. But clearly, Crosshair's chip did work at least a little bit, and then it was made worse when Tarkin enhanced it.
Yep.
Because what I noticed, it seems that once Order 66 was issued and once the chips were activated, the clones like lost their personalities. They weren't, oh, this is my pal like Rex, and this is my guy like Kicker. They call each other by their clone numbers. Like when the shock troopers came to get Crosshair out, he was like CC 9904 or 02 or whatever his number is. And like you could tell it in the Clone Wars too, in season 7, like they call each other by their numbers. They're really serious. They don't deal with any. They're just like robots. They're like the droids essentially. But Crosshair, he still kind of maintained his personality. Like he was still the sarcastic guy. He still was part of the team, and he was like he was fighting with them in the cafeteria. It's just that tick in his head that little good soldiers follow orders was just too much.
Yep.
And I think they had a lot of great talks about like loyalty and they're about the team, like just in the cell, and Hunter and Crosshair like butting heads. There was one line where Crosshair was like, "You've always been too stubborn to make the right move or something." And when I hear that, I hear always, and I'm like, okay, so all of this coming out of Crosshair isn't new. Like maybe these are just feelings he's had buried deep down. Like maybe he's been sort of resentful or angry at Hunter way deep down, not enough for it to mean anything for a while. And that could have just been enhanced by the chip being activated.
Right, yeah.
And after they did that, after they messed with the chip, he was fully willing to kill all of them. Like if Hunter didn't dodge that first shot, he would have shot him right in the head. He shot Wrecker. He would have killed him. He would have killed Omega. He would have killed everybody. So I'm just hoping they can get him back by the time the show ends.
Yeah. No, I like what you said, because like I guess before Clone Wars and stuff, and we had this deeper lore about Order 66. I always just thought like the clones were just like, all right, we're just gonna follow orders, we're gonna do this. But it's almost like it's a full-on brainwash. Like they bang, like their whole outlook on everything changed. because even in like the lunchroom and stuff, they're being mean. Like their whole thing, like even Crosshair before he had the operation to amplify it, like you said, he was still calling him Hunter. Like he was still with the team. He fought with them. Like he was still on their side,
Yeah.
but he disagreed. And then as soon as they made Order 66 actually work in his brain, now he's straight up, he's just gonna kill him. And
Yeah.
I think like that's the same thing that happened with the normal clones with their Jedi's. So like everyone, like Cody, how like right away he goes to try and kill Obi-Wan. It's not his fault. Like it's not like, oh,
Yeah.
I have an order to kill my best friend. No, he doesn't think of him as a
No.
best friend anymore.
Exactly.
So I really like how they keep like continuing to flesh out Order 66, because honestly, it's like one of the biggest things in Star
Exactly.
Wars.
It is like the tipping point for like
Yeah.
essentially everything that happens. That's why
Oh,
I
yeah.
think the Fives arc in Clone Wars is one of the most important things in the Star Wars canon, and
Period.
you can't fight on that. I really like you were saying with the orders, um, cross like the whole thing is now you follow all your orders because that is all there is. Um, and there's also I don't know if it's canon, but like the idea, but I saw a fan animation where instead of instead of it just being a complete rewiring, it was that the clones' memories were changed to memories of the Jedi being like being bad to them. Like it takes away
Mhm.
memories of bonding and friendship and replaces them with them just being used as like cannon fodder, like picking up clones and using the Jedi using the Force and like using clones as like meat shields, which is
Right.
an interesting concept. I don't know if that's the actual canon. I assume it's just like erases personality, but I just thought that was interesting. And like you said, seeing more with Order 66 is always fun. Um,
Fun, but not fun.
yeah,
It still makes me cry
that
every
on
time.
Crosshair, the thing with the orders, good soldiers follow orders. He
Ah,
at that point, Hunter is still technically his commanding officer, so that would also apply to Hunter's orders, which is why when they were uh, Onderon, Crosshair had his scope lined up
ah,
on that lady, but he
yep.
would not shoot until he kept saying he said, Hunter, give the order, give the order. So he must be mentally, physically unable to have done anything while under Hunter's leadership, because that is technically an order from a superior, which you're supposed to follow. And disobeying that would be like, oh my God, I can't
Bad
believe you did
soldier.
that. Which is
Yeah.
like he really wanted to shoot at that camp, but because Hunter never gave him the order to, um, he wasn't able to do it, which I think is a pretty interesting little bit that they stuck in there. Speaking of interesting things, Omega is here now. um,
Omega.
what did you think of her initially, like from from just what we got in this episode and maybe the trailers? What are you thinking so far?
Honestly, first glance, first thing, I'm like, come on, I gotta deal with another kid. Blah. But, and this is a big but, um,
Big butt.
just like your mama. Um,
Oh, correct,
no,
Craig.
I think, yeah. Shout out Craig, by the way. I think she's pretty cool. I know you guessed it. She was a clone right off the
Mhm.
bat. I had my reserves. I know they called her human
Yeah,
in the episode, so I was like, oh, so she's not a clone. And then, of course, they confirmed that she was. So
yeah.
now, like, I guess the clones consider themselves humans and not
I
just
thought they
clones.
always were human
Which
because it's a clone
yeah,
of a human, which means
I
an identical copy of a human, making them human.
I guess that makes
Is just
sense. Yeah,
how I thought of it.
which is
Um,
cool. I guess I like that.
yeah, we were a little confused on what she kind of was, probably because we were talking,
Yeah.
trying to have reactions over it. But I rewatched um, from the Camino. I don't remember if it was like Nalase or one of the other ones. She said that Omega has a quote curious mind that causes her to wander or wonder, not wander. And I think Tech said that she has a state of heightened awareness. So
Hmm.
that could be her um, enhancement. Uh,
Yeah.
Another thing,
Okay.
we know that she's an enhanced clone because when Tarkin was talking to the one Kaminoan, the Kaminoan or Tarkin asked how many enhanced were left, and she said, unfortunately,
5.
there's 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Omega is the 5th enhanced because if you remember, Echo is a regular clone. He is
Just
not
a
enhanced.
reg.
So
Yep.
you hear 5 and you're like, oh yeah, the original 5 or the regular 5, but no, Echo is not. So that would make Omega the 5th, which was a hint right there. And we know that she's a clone now, but the question is, who is she a clone of? Is she a Jango Fett clone that was experimented on? I feel like in the facial features department, she definitely reminds me a bit of like a young Jango Fett or Boba, like just the clone,
Mhm.
Jango in general. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Also the accent, like even more
Omega.
so than because I don't think Tamura's is exclusively Australian. It's like some other, but it definitely has hints of that in there. But Omega was like full on Aussie. Um,
Yeah.
but I think that could be interesting. If she is a clone of Django, but with a different gender, because that just shows all the crazy experiments that the Kaminoans are doing.
Yep.
Also, if she's not a clone of Django, because they don't just clone Jango Fett, it's a cloning facility, not a Jango Fett cloning facility. So there could be some sort of other person or group of people that are being cloned that we don't know about. So plenty of directions for them to take her. I didn't think I was gonna like her at first, but I really do actually.
Yeah, same. But like the way she kind of molds with the group
Mhm.
almost. Like I remember she's already a sharp shot, which is pretty darn cool. And then
Yeah.
the one scene I know we both really liked when she was in the cabin and just looking at the stars. They go into hyperspace and
Mhm.
like you could see the reflection in her eyes. Like it was
Yeah.
really cool. I feel like again, like child characters, I'm usually not a fan of, but she didn't really feel like a child. She just felt like a young
You just
person,
wanted to be
if
their
that
friend.
makes sense. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, she just wanted to be with them because she knew they were alike. They're
yeah.
all
They're like
advanced and clones. So yeah, I'm actually really interested to see what she's all about.
a big part of
And
the reason
yeah,
I
go ahead.
liked her was just seeing how she like connected and talked to the other members. Like just the way that she's so fascinated with them, and she feels, she feels with her kind, I guess, when she's with, like, she feels not her kind, but she feels like a sort of bond with them because they're,
Yeah.
they're different than everyone else. Which could also be another hint at her being a Django clone that has been really altered. So there's that. But I wrote down a couple. There was a couple scenes that I noticed upon like watching it again. Um, like one when they get in the prison cell. If you look back, Hunter goes and like they're talking, and he sits down on the bench to like think about what's going on, and he leans down, he puts his arm, like his hands, like he's grabbing his chin, like he's thinking. And if you watch closely, Omega, while he's doing that, she turns and she's watching him, and then as soon as he does that motion, she turns and she does the same exact motion and copies him and just does the same. Which,
That's awesome. I
yeah.
missed that.
So yeah, it's like she mirrors their movements. My favorite scene with her was when Crosshair was sitting down and she went over and she's like, "I know what you're gonna do. Please don't do it." Like she already knew that
Yeah.
because remember has heightened awareness, so she
Hmm.
probably already knew what Crosshair was gonna do before he did. She goes over and she like grabs his arm. She's like, "Please don't do it." And then she's like, "I know it's not your fault." And then Crosshair has like a little, I don't know if it's a smirk or a smile, but he has a little like he definitely recognizes what she says, and it definitely hits him. The way she just, like she knows what he's gonna do, and she just wants him to know that at least she knows that it's not his fault. Which is kind of sad when you think about it. Especially when you think about how Rex handled Order 66 and like how difficult that was for him to hold on just for a couple seconds. But
Don't get me started.
yeah. Also, like
Oh my
Wrecker's
god.
little what was it, Lula or Poo? I don't know,
Yeah.
the little
His
doll
teddy bear
toy. Yeah,
thing.
he was
Yeah.
looking for it, and she immediately knew what he wanted, and she gave it back to him when they were on the shuttle. Like she just wants to hang out with him and be their friend. because she likes them and she feels, she feels close to them, which I just think is a really cool concept. And her like leaving Camino for the first time was a cool moment. It also kind of gave Hunter more of a thing to do, because like if you think about it, Hunter's kind of like, I guess, like Leonardo. Leonardo's just like, he's the turtle that's the leader, and then that's about it. Doesn't mean you can't like him or that he can't be interested, but like his role is the leader, and but this kind of, Hunter seemed to be the one that she was like the closest with, and that she was talking to try to get them to stay and take her with them. And so it's just cool. I like seeing how each member will interact with her.
Absolutely.
Ditto.
You kind of hit it on the head. I was gonna say I forgot to mention the Crosshair scene in the jail cell. But yeah, that was another one where like the interplay with Omega really like changed my mind on her. I'm like, oh, okay, starting to like this little girl.
Is it? I feel like there's a pot. Is it even Omega? Because she says Omega, but and you're like, oh, that's just the accent. But when I think saying Omega in an Australian accent, I think Omega, not Mega. Omega. Omega. See, it's two different things. I'm not Australian, so this is not like a professional. But it just sounds. I don't know.
If you are Australian, let us know how you say Omega.
There's probably different dialects and different. And I'm pretty sure other characters said Omega. But
yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure the Kaminoans
one of the
Omega.
at the end there. I wasn't paying attention to the pronunciation, but like I just feel like Australian would be Omega, not Omega. It's
Omega.
Weird. We're the least qualified people to talk about that. Yeah. So, I wanted to wrap up here. We could go on all day about more scenes that we liked. But our last section here, just, you got any predictions or notes or little extra bits you gathered from the episode that we didn't talk about yet?
My general vibe of how the episode ended, so like short-term predictions, is they're gonna go, I'm guessing Coruscant, but they're gonna get help. The Bad Batch without Crosshair, they're gonna go to someone or somewhere, and they're gonna do a team up. I'm hoping it's a returning character. I'm not sure who, because Saul is always the go-to returning character, but they already kind of met up with him. I don't think they'll go back to him immediately.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like episode 2, 3 is going to be about the group just probably strengthening the relationships with each other, with Omega, and just searching for help somewhere in the galaxy. But my long term is we're going to see some Jedis. We're probably going to see Crosshair and his squad hunting down some. We might see the Bad Batch teaming up with some, but I feel like someone, probably not a huge name Jedi,
definitely
like a council member or something, but I feel like we're going to see some Jedi sometime in the series. How about you?
Right. Well, I got some stuff for you that I found as you were saying all that. So just stick with me here. There's an episode of the Clone Wars called Grievous Intrigue, where Jedi Master Eth Koth is kidnapped by Grievous. Grievous sends a message to the Republic with Koth in captivity, and I believe it was Commander Wolf who noticed that through the transmission, Eth Koth was giving hand signals to the Republic. I think Obi-Wan translates it, and the translation is Seleucami System Sector J19 from the episode. Sector J19. That is what Eth Koth hand signals to the Republic.
And that's where they said they were going, right?
Yeah, J19. And the episode after that is called The Deserter, where they're on Seleucami hunting for Grievous. Rex gets shot and taken out of commission, and they go to a little farm where Rex finds a deserting clone named Cut Lawquane.
Wow.
Who is the deserter in the title of the episode. And they have a great, conversation about following orders and being your own person. So that's who they find on Seleucami. And episode 2 of the show is called Cut and Run. So, and I didn't find this. This was just this is a lot of articles online had this. but I wanted to
I'm gonna
drop that
say
on you.
I'm I'm just gonna say me and Evan did not talk about this beforehand.
No, we did
My
not.
mind is officially blown. This man has
Oh,
done his research.
I was
If this
smart.
is true, I don't even know what I'm gonna do because that's
Oh,
bananas.
I was
I
like
feel like
smiling while you were like, I'm thinking we're maybe gonna see another character,
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, there you go. There you go. That makes so much
Yeah.
sense. That would be awesome.
I'm not
But go ahead. Go ahead.
confirming that that's what's gonna happen. That's just what I read online. But it really just adds up. And I really liked Cut Lawquane. I thought that was that's a great episode, especially
I,
for Rex. And he
yeah,
decides to
I
not turn
remember
him
that.
in at the end, which was cool. Like this, it just lines up too well to be. It's like
That
it's the same location, and the episode has his name in it, and like he's a clone. I imagine with Rex becoming closer to the Bad Batch after they met, he would probably talk about them a little bit, talk about Cut anyway. So, do you remember that episode?
I remember it exactly. He had the Twi'lek wife too, and they had
Yeah,
to
and their kids, and there was the
bounty hunters or
commando
something.
droids that
Commando
crashed there,
droids.
and they
Yep,
came and attacked, and
that was an awesome arc.
Rex and Cut had to defend the homestead.
I was gonna
And that
say,
last shot with Rex riding away and his helmet sitting on the back of the whatever animal was, and just
oh
riding
yeah,
into
yeah,
the
yeah.
sunset. But I kind of wish we were recording because your face when I was when I was
Shoot.
saying each new detail, like you were like, wait a minute.
That was all right. So I was thinking, yeah, J19. That's probably like a level on Coruscant. Like,
Right,
oh, they're
right.
gonna go
It
to
still
some
could be. This
pirates.
isn't, like
Oh, we
confirmed.
could, but
But
come on, dude, that was a
yeah,
bombshell. Give
I
a
was
like
thinking,
if Evan is on fire tonight, because I think he is.
okay, maybe I am. But I was thinking it would be. I think I said it in the video. I was thinking it was going to be the moon where the Venator with Ahsoka and Rex crashed on at the end of season 7.
Mhm.
Because in the episode at least we don't find out what planet or moon that is. And I was thinking because Rex was in the trailer, so I just kind of skipped any other, um, you know. But if that is the case, if that is actually where this is going, man, like Filoni just like the deep dives into the backlog of Clone Wars
That
episodes to find that, and that brings up so many interesting conversations they could have with him because he deserted. Does his chip still work? Like there, chances are there wasn't a Jedi near him. Did he like he didn't? Was he even able to receive the transmission? Probably not. So like, does he even know like exactly like the full like details of everything? Um, but I don't know if that's the case. That would be pretty cool.
that's levels, man.
And
I
I'm giving
honestly
myself
hope
100% credit for figuring out. No, just kidding.
I honestly hope they don't go super in depth in explaining it. Like
Yeah,
I hope they just say, all right, J19, and we see him go into that foreign planet.
yeah, and
Because
like it
like
just
I feel
cuts to
like
dumb, and you just see his little hut, and his kids are running
yeah,
around, a little bit older.
because like you just saying that, like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking. Like, I feel like that's a good nod to the
Mhm.
fans who
Yeah,
watch Clone Wars and who would probably not pick up on it, but would say, hey, I
yeah,
remember him, and then do the research, and
exactly.
then and like right now have their minds blown, like
Yeah,
I just did.
that's such a
That would be
smart
awesome.
like hint because it's not even like a hardcore fan of Clone Wars.
Oh
You wouldn't. Oh, you remember the episode where they talked about J19 and
no way.
Seleucamine? That was like that's not the detail that you remember from that episode. Those episodes, like that's such a smart because then you go back and you read about it or you watch. Maybe you're rewatching Clone Wars like months later, and he's like Seleucamine J19, and you're like, oh, that's where that came from. It's just
Wow.
so smart. But yeah, episode 1, I thought it was great. I loved it. I I'm thinking it might end up being one of my favorites of the show just because of the length and what they were able to do with that long amount of time. But I understand not every episode's probably going to be even close to that long. I thought it was a really good episode. It's a great place to jump back in with the Bad Batch. It was a great reintroduction to this art style and this version of the world. The new additions are great. The callbacks are great. The pacing is great. The animation's great. Voice acting is great. The call like
Oh yeah.
it's really good. I had high hopes, and so far they have been exceeded.
Yeah.
Um,
No, yeah.
the big gripe I'm seeing is people are having some problems with the timeline and everything lining up, which I understand. It's not like I'm not saying this is the greatest thing ever. And a lot of comic fans are upset with how the comic book characters were treated because that comic can't really be canon anymore because like it completely contradicts everything that happened in that, not everything, but a good portion of that comic.
Mm-hmm.
So I also understand where the anger kind of comes in. So yeah, what about you? What were your thoughts on this episode?
I was gonna say, I know I said the same exact thing for Mandalorian season 2. Check out our podcasts on that. But great first episode. Like you said, we're just jumping right back in. We haven't seen this style of shows for a year now. We've had some Star Wars, but we haven't had Star Wars like this. And
Mhm.
I've said, like, we said it before with the narrator, but I felt at home. I felt like I was watching Clone Wars the other day, and I was just hopping back into another episode.
Just a new
Um,
season 8.
yeah, I don't know if it'll be my favorite episode, but it's definitely got me
Yeah.
like excited for more. Like if this is the quality of the first episode, I just know we're gonna go better from
Yeah.
here. So I'm excited.
There's no way that they have a lackluster finale to this. I think
Right.
it's I guess my hopes. I want to see. This is a really specific and odd request that I don't think a lot of people are going to have. I really want to see Rex and Echo just give me one 30-second scene between Rex and Echo where Rex shows Echo the recordings that Fives and AZ made about the inhibitor chips and we get Echo's reaction. That's all I want. You give me that
Mm,
and I don't care what you do. Well, that's a little over exaggerated, but still I want to see that.
that would hit me right in the heart.
Exactly. That's what we
Aw.
need. Um Also, I love Rex. Rex is my favorite clone. He's my main man. But do not turn this into the Captain Rex show. Give us maybe one
Yes.
episode dedicated to him being there and a main sort of character. But don't just turn that. And he can show up. He can be in it, like as a sidekick. But don't turn it into the Captain Rex show. If you would like to give us a Captain Rex show, I have not complained.
Feel free. Feel free.
Or like Rex and Cody. Oh, Rex and Cody. Imagine that show.
Oh man.
But yeah, really great episode. I'm gonna go 9.5 out of 10.
Mm. You know what? I'm gonna go 8.9. I'm not gonna give it that 9 because I have hopes we're gonna get better. But 8.9, that is very solid. I honestly have little to no complaints.
Yeah, yeah. Who's to say 10 is the ceiling? You could give it 11 out of 10.
Ooh, ooh, don't get me. Oh.
Ugh. Trying to think if there's any other details that I saw that I just didn't write down. I was pretty filled. Like there was a lot that happened.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
like we didn't even talk
But
about
if
I
you
was gonna
guys
say stuff
noticed
about
it.
Tarkin, but I forgot
Oh,
to.
Tarkin.
Yeah.
Oh.
But go ahead.
He was great. But we said it in the reaction how like he was the perfect
Yeah.
like the age level between the
Yeah.
Clone Wars and Episode 4. Like
Oh,
he looked
yeah.
good. The animation was
He
on
looks
par.
great, but I feel like he might be a little bit too old. Like he kind of looks a little bit old. Like from now to
Okay.
original trilogy is like what? It's like
It's like
15,
20
20.
at
I feel like he maybe
most.
just like looks
Yeah.
a little bit old. Like if we just saw an older version of the Clone Wars one, like
Mhm.
because I don't know, it's hard to measure because like it seems like these guys just get super old really quick. Like Admiral Yularen went from having like brown hair and being all young to literally white hair and wrinkly and old,
Yeah.
like in a matter of like
Yeah.
months. Um, but yeah, we're gonna cut it there. We don't want to make this any longer than
Right.
it already is. So thanks for listening. If you've made it this far, check out the reaction to this episode and the future episodes if you're watching in the future.
And if we missed anything, leave a comment. Let us know what you
Yes,
thought. Let us know what we missed
and
out
check
on.
out the Rebel series.
And definitely check out the Rebels.
All right, thanks for listening or watching. I don't know if I'm even gonna turn this into like like anything that there's a video to watch. So thanks for listening. And we'll see you for episode 2.
We're saluting. We always do.
You just can't see it. I forgot how to make Craig leave. It's been so long.
Craig, leave. That's
Craig,
enough.
Shut up.